Up next is our brother, our facilitator, who's going to facilitate our mother's panel. Put your hands together for our brother, Omodamola.
Thank you. So, I'm new to this. I stutter a lot. I speak a little slow, and I'm a little intimidated by these powerful women. So, bear with me, please. Thank you. So, we're gonna start with intros. Tell us where you're coming from. Tell us your occupation and what you're passionate about.
Good afternoon. My name is Valerie Davis. I am from Silver Spring, Maryland. I am the convener of the Black Coalition for Excellence in Education. And what else am I supposed to say? The babies. I'm passionate. I'm on the wall for the Black children.
Hi, I'm Wailea Chase. I'm a mom of 4. I'm a wife of 1. I am always going to rep my hometown of Brooklyn, New York, but I've lived in Montgomery County, Maryland for 26 years. And I'm passionate about Black people.
My name is Glory Wilson. I'm an administrator. I'm passionate about our kids, with what I see that's going on in America.
My name is Tiffany Kelly. I'm from Florida. And for the people that don't know what that is, I'm from Florida. I take pride in being country. And like my friend, I stutter. So you got a friend up here that stutters as well. And I am really passionate about my people. And when I say that, it's kind of a loaded answer. Black people, but specifically, I come from people who were agricultural workers who never got a chance, that fed this country, built this country, and are not valued. So that's my passion.
And again, my name is Omodamola Williams. My father's Nigerian, my mother's Haitian, so I'm only half crazy, don't know from which side though. I represent Gaithersburg, and I am a newbie when it comes to community organizing on this level. All right, so let's start. Let's continue with reflecting from the last young gentleman. What's your take from that?
On the gentleman's panel?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it was a lot. I'm not even sure where to start with that. But I'm just glad to see that we had not one, not two, but several young men who are ready to take on the world and face the call to action to leave a wonderful legacy, and that aren't afraid to speak up and speak the truth.
It was good for me to hear them speak, because sometimes they don't speak to us. They'll speak amongst themselves, but they don't tell us, the parents, what's going on within themselves. So it was very much so good to hear all the good things and bad that us parents are doing.
I applaud their courage in coming up and opening themselves up to the questions and to the answers, and so I thought it was great.
I wasn't here, but I co-sign on all of that because I believe you.
Just hold on to it. All right, so first question. How do you encourage those who are tired, those who are living paycheck to paycheck, those who are the most impacted? How do you encourage those with limited time for themselves to be involved in the community?
3 things. One is I make space for that to be the case. Just acknowledge that that is so, and that it may be so for you on Monday, and it's so for you on Wednesday, and whenever it is, and the space must be created. Second thing I do is I try to listen more than I talk. And that's hard when you're an advocate and you want to, say the things, do things. But especially when it comes to people who are feeling like they can't enter the space, make the space by not talking. And then the third thing is I pray, because that's what allows me to get up in the morning, that there's something bigger and greater and more powerful than the things that seek to destroy us. So I'm not living in the natural only. I'm living in the supernatural. I believe we were created to be brilliant, and I accept nothing less.
Well, like Valerie, I make space, but also I don't judge, right? Because we can't all do everything, nor should we all do everything. And so I believe in harnessing our collective power. And so if someone can't show up for whatever reason, they don't have to tell me that. I show up. The reason that I show up, the reason that I advocate is for all of us who can't physically be there and for those of us who can. Some of us can physically be there but can't necessarily speak, right? They don't have the language to give to what they're feeling, like the young men shared today. And so I like to say that I'm a convener and also in the gap, and I feel like I am blessed to do that. And so
I'm gonna say I try to make myself available as much as possible. My passion is always helping others in general. It doesn't matter if it's kids or not. That's just me in general. So when I see things like this, I try to, if I am able to do it, I try my best to make myself available because it's important, especially when I have 2 sons and I have a daughter and they're growing up in this world right now that is not safe for them. And I want them to prosper without having any issues, and I know it's not going to be easy for them because it's always issue, even for myself.
I think that's a great question. I have not always been middle class. I've received probably every form of government assistance, and in bettering myself, I either had 2 jobs or I was working a job and going to college at the same time and trying to parent. When you're trying to meet your material needs, your basic needs, and someone says, we need you to come over here to be heard, that's a struggle, right? So I think that I went through my experience so I can show up in the space, sometimes for, sometimes with, but also to paint the picture of, yes, you do matter. And I'm gonna show you why you matter, and I'm gonna show you how you can matter, even if you yourself don't actually believe that. If we can build power within people, then they'll show up every time. But when you continue to strip the power, and even when they show up, nothing happens, that's when it becomes hard. So we just have to hold the feet to the fire of those who are in charge to make sure that they do hear these people who have given up being a mom or a dad in that second so that they can have a better life for them and their kids.
Thank you. So somebody mentioned fears, which is gonna leg to the next question. What are your fears for Black children, especially boys in Montgomery County?
There's a lot there. We continue to have concerns and issues unaddressed and ignored, especially as it relates to Black students, especially as it relates to Black boys. We have a clear school-to-prison pipeline. We have data behind that. We have a report that has been released about that, and it continues to be perpetuated in the most liberal county in Maryland. I believe there's a statistic that we incarcerate more Black men than probably most of the states in the U.S. We have a serious problem here in Maryland. We have a problem in this county in that every other groups get their needs met immediately. So while our needs are not met, our children are incarcerated. They're kicked out of school. They are marginalized, disenfranchised time and time again. Well, I care because A, we're supposed to care, but B, that's my future. You're not gonna destroy my future. These kids are our future, so we have a responsibility to be sure that they're taken care of. Montgomery County Police are killing Black people, and nothing is ever done about it. It's justified, it's ignored. My son had police called on him when he was 10 years old for having play money on a school bus. Not only police, but the Secret Service, and no one ever called me. However, that case drove the new Child Interrogation Act that you can't do that now. But my son is subject to that every day. I have to release my son every day into a world that does not see him or appreciate him, and that scares me to death.
I don't have a lot to say, but I would say that I do fear what she was saying about what they are doing with our boys. I would say also, I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm just saying, I'm just afraid in general for my son. I see what is going on in this world. He's subject to the police being harassed by him, what he's doing in school. Even the school officials are just labeling him as like not being successful or something like that. So I'm just afraid that without you guys or out here giving them the knowledge, that he won't be a sustainable person.
I'm fearful of what we don't know and what we don't seek to know. I'm fearful of the fact that too many of us don't know our own history, which can lead to a lot of detrimental outcomes. So I'm fearful of lack of knowledge, really. So I try to make sure that I'm not a gatekeeper. I try to make sure that information doesn't live and die with me, right? So what I learn, I share. And then I ask others to do the same. And I think that that can lead to a lot of great things for us, right? And so there are great things that we are doing, but I think that there is a lot more that we could do if we had the knowledge of self. And so that makes me feel.
The two things among many that I fear are, one, as this county and its school system in particular continues to suppress Black boys differentially, disproportionately, and at least give some lip service and elevation to Black girls, that they will continue to segregate the two. And we heard earlier in this convening that we cannot afford that. We cannot afford to allow folks to elevate our girls at the expense of our boys to make themselves comfortable. That scares me. Not only because it's just wrong and it's harmful, but because I have a girl and I want her to be surrounded by brothers who are whole and they can support one another. The second thing is, in this county, what scares me is that the future of everybody, but in particular our Black boys, is in the hands of people who think this is a liberal county. We have the veneer of being liberal. We are extraordinarily conservative, and even among our Black people. Black people came to Montgomery County to escape those places, D.C., Prince George's County. So we have elites who enjoy proximity and adjacency to power. I was in a meeting before I came here, I gotta say it. I said I was going earlier for you, though we're there, MCPS. I was told by a Black female associate superintendent that I should go join the NAACP, or I should work with one of those other Black coalitions that the school system's more comfortable with, instead of forcing myself where I'm not wanted. Say their names. I don't know, we're on live stream, I won't do that, see me afterwards. I'm sitting here, I'm containing that right now, because I came from this convening and went there to say all the things, and I have to come back scared that I sat in the room with a Black woman who has a Black principal, 3 Black principals who are reporting to who are Black women. And they sent the collective message. She said, I'm speaking for all of us. Back off. That scares me, because if you look at it, Montgomery County, you'll think we're something different. All skin folk are not kinfolk. Was I supposed to say that? Live stream, sorry.
But that goes to the fear that I talked about, right? Because when we don't know, then when we promote the agenda of white supremacy, right? And so we do it to ourselves, knowingly or unknowingly, when we don't know. So that is why I have that fear. And there's only so much grace we can have for that, right? Because we sit next to each other and get the same incorrect education, right? But then when does it become our responsibility to get the proper education from a Dr. Smith, right? From a Dr. Curry, right? And so that's a real fear, because then we promote that, and then we are weaponized against each other, but we don't really know, and we think that we are doing the thing, but it's really about proximity. But we don't even realize that we're doing that too.
Thank you. So, next question. Speaking of the system, MCPS, what What are the systems, services, or people in place that is harming the Black community?
I guess I would like to counter that with who isn't. I'm trying to figure it out because I still don't know. Even the so-called Black organizations are causing harm. And how sophisticated is it to perpetuate racism through a Black face? Oh my goodness. It can't be racist because the top is Black. The top is... How sophisticated is that? Some smart people. It's easy to point out the racist white, but it's real hard to point out the Black that's anti-Black.
Uncle Ruckus?
I don't know what the name is, but seriously, Montgomery County, I believe, has done a really great job at that sophisticated racism, that underlying current, by putting a lot of Black folks. Let me tell you something. We have Black people here in charge at the top of every agency, every organization. They doctor this and that. But we have the worst issues with the outcomes of Black students. When you layer on Black and poor, it gets even worse. And this is one of the wealthier areas, especially for Black people. It's very sophisticated, it's advanced. And when we talk about anti-Blackness, we automatically feel we need to fight the white face, but that's really not who you're fighting.
I think that the thing that works against us as much as, if not more, than racism, which, by the way, has been documented in 4 consecutive studies within MCPS as being entrenched, and they're committed to it since the early 2000s. Not new. Not new. The thing is caste, which has nothing to do with race, which is why people think we are different than we actually are. I'll just use a perfect example. There's a caste among Black organizations in Montgomery County as it relates to MCPS. The organization that is at the top is the NAACP. The organization that comes next is the Black and Brown Coalition. Then there's a huge gap. Then you get to your D9s, right? Your Divine Nines, sororities, fraternities. I'm in a sorority. There you go. And then you drop all the way down to the bottom to those who say the quiet parts out loud, who are told to back off, like ours, like hers, like racial justice now. Caste is so much harder to suss out than straight overt racism. And people don't know about it, right? So when you say it to them, you say, well, why did they get in the room and I didn't get in the room? And we're both Black, so all they can say, well, we had a Black organization in the room. The one you're comfortable with. That part right there, caste includes everyone. So Tiffany's right. It's everybody and everything and everywhere that is working against it. Because why do people defend territory? Because they want to keep it.
So I'm going to say a quiet part out loud. I am the Director of Operations and Community Engagement for the Black and Brown Coalition for Educational Equity and Excellence. And we do partner with MCPS. And we do hold them accountable. And I think that if you're not in the room, that there are things that you don't know. But what I also will say is there's nobody on this great green earth that's going to make me speak out negatively against any other Black-led organization, ever, ever. So I represent those who are not in the room and say the things that maybe people in the room don't like about those organizations that are in the room. I don't play identity politics, and I'm absolutely not going to do it with a Black organization, even if I don't agree with that Black organization, because for me, that's kitchen table talk. And what I mean by that is, if I have a problem with you as a Black person, I'm going to tell you quietly and over here, right? That's not something that we need to air, and we need to do that because we can work that way together. And so, so I just had to say that part, because that's not, for me, that's a non-starter. It's just not something that I'm gonna let fly. Everybody doesn't love that, but I do.
If I had to identify a system that has the most access to Black people, more so than any other system, it would be the public school system. Just about everybody goes to public school. And there is great harm that comes from inequities in education. The issues I faced at 30 didn't start at 30, they started at 5. So if I had to put the onus on one system that I really wanted to see a change in, it would be the public school system, which is mostly white teachers, that directly sends children to juvenile justice more readily than any other system. So I would have to say they're creating the greatest amount of harm just because of the access they have to black bodies. I'm not going to say they're the most insidious or intentional, but they have the greatest access to do the most harm. So that's where I'm going to put the focus that I would like to work on.
I just want to say this. I know with the teachers, it can be teachers out there that's really for our kids. I had my son, he had an English teacher that was really for the kids. She was fighting for it. She was calling the parents. She was doing everything. But it was the school who was stopping her and not forcing. She even wanted that same class to be there for their be there for their 6th grade year. But they was like, no, they can't allow it. It was just the structure that she was trying to provide, and she was a black teacher too, so she was trying to give that dedication to them. But then you have people above her but saying, no, that's not what we want or anything like that. And she was only trying to make the better for the kids. That's all she was trying to do. And I never understood that. We had a meeting. We had like a meeting and everything about it. And they was like, no, we can't move forward with that. Having all the kids go back there. When I see that she was the only teacher that out of the whole of Montgomery County School, she was the only teacher that did that, show interest in my child. And I wish all teachers was like that. But then you have the people who push them back. So I can understand why they're not.
All right, so earlier, somebody in the lovely audience had their hand up. Would you please come down and tell us your concerns?
Hi, my name is Nikki, and I don't want to. I'm not trying to put you on the spotlight. I don't remember your name and the orange head wrap. Yeah. Okay. So you told us about what happened to you earlier, and you did not speak that person's name. Now, and then we start talking about saying the quiet things out loud. So we all know that a big part of our oppression is oppressing our speech, teaching us to not say the quiet things out loud, to just accept them and internalize them and move on from them. So I understand that, my understanding from the from what you said, I believe this woman was a person of color, a black woman. What she said to you was racist and racism. So why are you uncomfortable not saying the quiet things out loud, such as her name? I don't want you to say her name, because I know it's not something that you're comfortable with, but I just want to understand why, because I just kind of feel like I'm one of the people who I'm going to say it. I would have said it out loud. I wouldn't have cared. I would have been like, call me. You want to have a conversation about this? I would have invited her here so that she would have understood why what she said was wrong. Because the one thing that we know for a fact is that they use us against us all the time. And that's what that school system is doing. They're using people like her against people like you, so that you can feel uncomfortable in a space that you should have been comfortable saying whatever you had to say in. So I just want to know, one, why are you not comfortable? And two, where do I need to be on Monday morning to make sure that she never feels comfortable saying that to you again?
Well, thank you for that. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm just choosing my moment. And when I get off this lovely stage, my mama told me, if you care about where you're going and people are going to speak, you'll bring something to write on. I have this in my lap so that all those who want to come as we move forward to know the name and to do the thing, just let me know. So I am not uncomfortable. I'm strategic. What I did when I, in the beginning, Dr. Curry, when you were speaking, I was in the overflow room because I guess I was late. And I was sending an email with a link to the Racial Justice Now YouTube channel to everybody in leadership at MCPS. When I say everybody, I mean everybody, including her and her boss who was in the meeting, so that when I got to the meeting at 2 o'clock, they would know what I was coming in with and where I was coming from. So that's a point of accountability. I'm just being strategic. Come with me and we will go. Tiffany knows. Am I uncomfortable? Wait, I'm gonna say one more thing. I brought visual aids because people learn differently. This is my mom and my daddy, my grandparents. I'm a boomer, born in '64. I know I don't look it. Mississippi. Are y'all laughing, brothers, or clapping? Where's the, come on. Come on. And I brought this visual aid to say, and I also brought a picture of my daughter, to say, where I come from, segregated Mississippi, there's no such thing as uncomfortable, right? And I come from a place where I can remember things that some people who come into this county that don't have institutional knowledge, been here 50 years in this county. When we work together, we can leverage all of that. So it wouldn't do me any good to throw out her name without a strategy and a plan, am I right? And the data. Come with me and we will go. Black Coalition for Excellence in Education, follow us, let's go.
I just wanted to double down on Miss Valerie. Miss Valerie and Tiffany Kelly ain't never scared, baby. We bone crusher. We don't even care. We don't have a fearful bone in our body, I don't think. But I did want to say that what you expressed, I forgot your name, I'm sorry. We don't have enough of that. We don't have enough people willing to back us. Tired, scared, worried, need to pay their bills, scared they might lose their income. I get it 100%. So I don't want people to ever think that I'm gonna down them for being worried or scared, but we do need more of you. We need more of, let's show up. I recently staged a revolt at a Board of Education meeting, disrupted the whole meeting to call out their anti-blackness. And none of us wanted to do it. It was the most uncomfortable thing in the world for many of us, but we didn't have a choice. And what did we get? Did you know how to sign up for testimony? Was that the way to do it? I'm sorry, the house is burning down. Now, I'm not going to nobody's fire station and politely asking for no water, my house burning down. At the whole fool. But we were not received well because we didn't do it the correct way. We need to stop with that acceptability stuff. Our house is on fire. It is burning down. I don't have a choice. If you're not listening to me, if that's the only way that I can get your attention, so be it. But we need more people that are willing to sacrifice it all. Because guess what I learned? I learned this a long time ago. You're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. But you will pay. If we don't take care of these youth now, if we don't take care of these families now, down the road, we're going to have a higher price to pay, and we don't have that much currency. You either going to pay now or pay later, but you will pay. And I don't think that's what this county has reckoned with yet.
Well, with the interest of time, yeah, we're going to transition to the fathers. I just want to ask y'all one thing. Are y'all coming to the cookout Monday? Good. Thank you. Round of applause.
All right, family, you can do better than that for the mothers of civilization. That's right, the mothers of civilization. We can come here many different ways, but all of us got to come by our mothers, and all of our mothers look like them.